Greetings and welcome to Minecraft. Now, do not panic. This is not part 1 of 74. See, I see these pop up in the recommended bar next to a video now and again. Let's play Minecraft, episode 1 of 463. It's like, how? I don't get it. But yes, this is Minecraft, and I want to show you something I did in Minecraft. Oh, what could this possibly be? So, welcome to my humble abode. Let me take you on a guided tour. So, yeah, I created, Lara Croft, like, the class... I got that quote wrong, didn't I? Yes, it's welcome to my home, let me take you on the guided tour, and then in Tomb Raider 3 it's welcome back to my humble abode, feel free to take a look around. Oh, God. Anyway, this mansion is based on the, Tomb Raider 3 version, because I just feel like Tomb Raider 3 might not be my favourite of the classics, but I think probably in terms of the mansion, it is probably one of the best, or probably the best realisation of the mansion of the 3 that we get. So, where to start? Actually? I shouldn't even show you down there, because we technically never stand out there, except when we go off on our next adventure. But actually, when you're standing at the gates, you can look out and see what looks like an island, or like a little hill, with some greenery, and that, I suppose that makes sense if you think about ye olden buildings like this, where people would be coming with their horse and cart, so you'd want to come round, park, and then be able to turn around and go back out. So it does make sense that there would be some kind of island there. I did briefly think about building a big black wall around the whole perimeter, just for added authenticity of draw distance. But I, in the end, didn't do that. I just stuck a bunch of trees down. So yeah, this has been like sort of incredibly fun and also hell. This is I think I made several attempts at this before finally feeling like I've kind of nailed it with this version here. Do you know, actually, I am sort of now and again on and off trying to make the Legend series one, and I thought that wouldn't, I thought that in some ways would be easier, but it turns out it wasn't. It turns out the right angles of the classic era are just perfect for Minecraft. You know, you can see it right there with the garden there. I mean, it's so much fun. I was almost tempted to just break with wait a minute, did I, or did I just think about doing it? No, I thought about doing it, I didn't actually do it. I thought about, because of course, in the second game, she's got the big hedges there, and then she paved Paradise and put up a go-kart track instead. I was musing with maybe just putting the maze at the other side, but I ended up not doing that, because I in an earlier version I was basing it on the Tomb Raider 2 version. I was putting the hedge, and it was a lot of fun. You know, like, just something about symmetrical gardening designs is a lot of fun, so I may end up doing that at some point, but you know, you're just stuck with this little garden here, and just the fun symmetrical nature of the garden was just really enjoyable. Of course, there's a couple of different things here. I think it's a big fish spraying water at one point. Obviously, I can't really do that in Minecraft with the limited, well, I could, but with, you know, the limited space. So I just put some, which ones are they? Are they diamonds or are they emeralds? I can't remember. I think they're diamonds. Yeah, but that's and it's funny because it feels a lot bigger in the game, but okay, so I should explain this right here. What would be a good block to use? Yeah, that one. So, if you know anything about Tomb Raider, you'll know what I mean when I mean a block. So in an earlier version, I was using that as a block. 2x2x2, and it just doesn't quite work. It felt very odd. So in the end, I made a block 3x3x3, and that works a hell of a lot better. So uh, you know, when I say a block for Minecraft purposes, that's what I'm talking about, 3 by 3 by 3. The problem is though is so there's a lot of spaces in the mansion in the actual proper game where there's a texture on one side of the block and then a completely different texture on the other side. But of course, if I want to have a different texture, that's not going to work. That on a different side, then I would need to do that. But then that's going to show there like that. So then it got to the point where what I was having to do was have my block of 3 like that, and then having an extra block with the different one, or having a different side, so then the block became 4. And it does also mean like there's clearly like sort of the floor of the second floor and the ceiling of the first floor. It's just a flat texture with different textures on both sides. So spacing also became an issue. So even though I was going by the blocks of Tomb Raider, it still presented issues trying to create this in Minecraft. So what I'm saying is, there are places where I have had to take creative artistic license, and I'll happily point those out. You know, I'm not trying to be like overly purist here, but this was a lot of fun because it drew my attention to details I hadn't noticed before. Like I hadn't noticed that there was a different pattern along some parts of the wall, and you know, like the way this wall here is kind of manky. And a bit sort of mossy. Where should we start actually? Should we... I think we'll start with the outdoor area. Oh, and just the fact that this path ends. You know, like this path just ends and the hedges are there. So like, how does Lara walk around the... Did she just climb over the hedges? I mean, I guess maybe, but like, oh well, I mean, there is other doors throughout, isn't there? But it just seems odd that there would be no path there. Well, I'll show you the here's the other thing. Of course, is there's loads of windows, but there's very few of the windows actually look into the inside of the building. So there's a couple of the windows with the hall that there is, but then there's so many windows where it's just blackness. And again, if you're familiar with the game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That there's so much blackness, but then what that draws to your attention is, and again I'll show you this when we go inside, is how many places there should be windows and there's nothing on the inside. So yeah, and there's a lot of windows here. There's a sort of combination of being able to see through into some of the things and then just blackness. So but I mean, again, it was fun to remember that kind of stuff, and I liked also the pattern of the like sort of the bricks. I love a brick in a game. I don't know why, it's just very pleasing to me. But then there's the sort of the white borders around everything. Yeah, so this was actually a lot of fun to make. I mean, it drove me a little bit nuts in that corner because I'm sure I was following all the spacings properly, and yet it just didn't quite work out. That's meant to be sand. Why didn't I just do the... Oh, because it's halves. Of course, because I needed the halves. There we go. Found it eventually. Yeah, so you've got that. And then the bigger one. And then this was fun as well, like sort of all the shapes and all that. Do you know, I mean, again, I don't think it's stuff, or maybe stuff I'd stopped noticing was like the patterns on the top there. And then you've got your slidey bit. Obviously you can't do slidey bits in Minecraft, so that's just steps and then a pool and then the ladder up. And then of course the jumping. I think they wanted you to jump forward, but of course this is where you do your side jumps and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting that actually, yeah, they probably would. It would be jump forward, turn around, jump forward, turn around, forward, turn around. Yeah, whereas, I mean, who doesn't do this and they just jump forward and side jump, jump forward. Yeah, and like there's a slidey bit down there, but then there's a slidey bit down there, and I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but yeah. And even these kind of pointy bits, what was that all about? It's like doing something like this really drew to your attention some of the weird stuff in the designs in this place. But yeah, and oh, down we go. Wait a minute, what am I doing with so many? Oh, right, okay, well maybe that was when I was filling this pool up. But yeah, unfortunately there isn't any guns ahead because you can't do guns in Minecraft or something. I'm sorry, but I couldn't resist it. I did recreate the glitches in the graphics. Now I don't think you can see this when you're actually on the ground. I think it's when you're up on the roof that you see this, and you can actually jump forward and land on it. Oh, but I couldn't resist that. And then there's another oh. Hi. There we go. Oh, and this bit did drive me kind of bonkers. I forget exactly. Yeah, because there was a few bits during the thing here where I just had to like sort of lengthen things a bit or shorten things a bit. I think this got shortened quite a bit because it needed to be in line with the gate there. There was definitely something I did to this. But oh man, I was at that for a couple of hours. It was driving me absolutely bonkers, but I needed it to be in line with that. Oh, I think it was this bit here I shortened actually. I think it might be a lot longer. Well, anyway, and then we've got the bit where we should have a pair of guns in there, and then we come out and we shoot all the thingamajiggers. These are just flags, and then you go bombing up this bit area, and boom, you have finished your race. So yeah, and this bit's like grass, but then there's dirty bits or dodgy bits of ground. Was that flat or was that hills? Or like little hilly bits, I don't know, but it did have its stone bits here, and then boom. So I mean, it was one of those. I actually did have a lot of fun. Actually, yes, the walls are like that. I don't know what there's something odd about the shape of the walls, and that one there is a bit shorter. It's stuff like that's odd, but I mean, again, doing this, it was really fun to notice these kind of things. I mean, it's the same with the shape with the hedge, big massive hedge like this. So this was yeah, all dirty and manky, and this was not I mean, a lot of dynamite was used to make this assault course, but it was not as hellish as you might think it would be to do. I think probably because down there I wasn't as rigid, I don't think, as I could have been. So we've got the starting point. And there is lots of bits where it's little bumps and there's little holes because of course you're going over this with a go-kart thingy majigger, a quad bike. And there's this big mound of dirt. I mean, you would have thought that Lara would have had that cleared away or something, or maybe that's where they dumped stuff when they were clearing it out. They being the builders. I can't imagine Lara Croft out here with a shovel doing this herself. But yeah, so you've got all this wood as well, and then there's just random bits of hedges as well. I think the corners were something that kind of you know, like I spent like I had my laptop sitting next to my screen here, and just constantly going back and forth because on my laptop I was running Tomb Raider 3, and just constantly like sort of having to because these corners with the squares, because of course there's not like a sort of I don't know why they didn't just do that. I mean, surely they could have had some kind of straight line at an angle just by having like a sort of half. Like have like a sort of triangle, like a square cut down the middle, or maybe I'm misremembering that was a thing that they did. But yeah, they had all these square sort of edges here, and yeah, I demolished these hedge bridge thingies and rebuilt them multiple times because again, sort of trying to get that line. They were, I mean, I think they turned out okay in the end. They look fine when you're just passing through, and yeah, again, you know, well, maybe that's actually more what I was thinking about, but yeah, it is again. They've got those squares and then those smaller bits, or something to that effect. That might have been a wee bit of a compromise, but I think it was something basically like that. So round here, and then round here, this was pretty basic stuff here. But then there is bits where the walls, I mean, again, it was just like noticing the little details. The way some parts of the wall were a bit manky, and then there's another mound of dirty hilliness. And then we come round here, we hit this, and then we jump over that. Come on, go faster, thank you. And then round here, and it is this weird combination of dirty ground and grass. And then, boom, we go down underground. And, yeah, this is, like, I mean, like I said, it wasn't the hell that, I mean, it took, like, this bit here, I did take it apart a couple of times and put it back together again, and I probably should be a bit wider than I actually made it. But, yeah, I just sort of, I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to stick to what works and then do it and be relatively faithful to the game, but not rigidly so. And I do have the bit in here with the fire. There's a couple of places in this underground area where the lighting comes from fire. So she's just got random fires in her underground go-kart area. Yeah, and this was a lot of dynamite, but it was a lot of fun as well because I believe, you know, it was a few months ago I put this together, so I can't remember, but as I remember it, the game, the roof or the ceiling of this area is very rugged, so that meant I could blow this stuff out with dynamite and then just like sort of keep the kind of rugged patterns I ended up with. So, you know, it was more the floor that was flat and then having to build these kind of areas. So I think we go over here, and then I believe we go over here and down here. Is it down here? Oh, was it a case of across there, down there, and then up that little bit there? Is that meant to be a ramp of some kind? I can't remember. I mean, trying to interpret what some things are in Minecraft is a wee bit tricky, but do you not also come round here? And then this is where you exit again, back up here. And then you come round here, up that, down, up that again, and then round here. And then boom, you're back to the starting point again. But that bit, and yes, it again, weird details. There is a tree growing. In fact, there's a couple of trees growing right there on top of that entrance or exit, whatever you want to think of it as. But then there's this bit over here where you can go up, 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 and then we got another one of these little lights with fire, and then it's just this random little area here with some grassy hill, but I guess it's just a footpath way of coming out to this bit here. So that's the go-kart track. I mean, it took a bit of time to do all that, but it was not as hellishly awful as I was actually expecting it to be. But it does end up that you just have this random, and I couldn't actually get onto the wall. Like, I can't get onto that. I could get onto the hedges, but I couldn't get onto the wall, so I couldn't see. I don't think there's something on top of that, but I think it's just a case of you never actually see that in game, so it doesn't really matter. Now, I can't imagine how you open the... Oh, there we go. That's where I just got to demolish it. So, here we are. I mean, probably this floor was what drove me absolutely mad because it was such repetitive work. I mean, God. Now, you will see stuff like this. See, you see where that's 3D? Yeah, I put some lights underneath, but actually, when you are... Well, we're looking at some of them right now, and I don't think they're I mean, they're obviously obvious because you can see the light right there. But actually, the sort of sticky upwards, I don't think that's obviously overly noticeable. And so we do have the... I mean, unfortunately, I can't, like, sort of flip a switch to open the bookcase to allow us to flip another switch and run over here. Boom. But this is actually one of this is probably where I had to make the most obvious change because, I mean, again, it's that thing of the blocks. Everything in Minecraft takes up more space than it would in the actual original game. So in the end, I started building this at ground level, and then when I went to do the upper floor, it was like, oh, there's no room. This room is far too big, or far bigger than what it should be. So I ended up having to just stick it like really far down, because this is really tricky because it is a case of like you've got the outdoor windows. I don't know if we can. Oh, there is a bit of a... Yeah, but then you don't really have much space. Will you get up, please? There's not a lot of space between that and the outdoor wall, so then... it was just really tricky to try and get all the proportions right between the outside wall and the inside wall, because at times it really was just like literally right stuck next to each other. And then, like, I don't think I ever stopped and thought about it before how weird it was. Like, there's just these massive big alcoves here, and then there's these massive tall bookcases, and then more of these weird alcoves. I did enjoy making the fireplace though, actually. Although, yeah, campfire. And I believe, does that go... No, it doesn't. Okay, I think there's one of my... It'll be upstairs, actually. One of my chimneys does actually lead outside. But yeah, here we've got some the glass cabinets where various things are. And I think that's where the ski-on is, and I was hoping I could place a broken record. So that would be the ski-on, but you can't do that with the records, unfortunately. So, but I tell you one thing I really did like is the sort of Tudor-esque feel to Lara's mansion. So yeah, I mean, it's empty. It feels really empty, but actually, I mean, doing this really drew to my attention just how empty the mansion actually is. You know, like from a modern perspective, where you would have so much detail and everything. But yeah, I loved the kind of mock Tudor, or well, presumably it's an old mansion, so it is actually Tudor-esque. But I loved that look on all the walls. But I mean, again, trying to get the pattern right. I mean, it looks kind of simplistic the way it's done, but you know, like there was a few times, like I was doing it all the way around there, and then I started going all the way around here, and then I realised at some point they weren't gonna match, so I basically had to demolish most of this wall and redo it. I don't know if there's a... I'm not seeing it. It looks reasonably... Oh, there it is. You can see the two whites next to each other. Yeah, well, I mean, would you have noticed that if I hadn't pointed it out to you? Should we stick on the ground floor for now? Through to the kitchen. Yeah, I think that's actually... Does that stay wood, or does that become the wood and the cement on this in the game? And I think that might be an example of, because it was the blocks, instead of being able to put down different textures on two different sides, I just sort of decided to keep that wooden. But yeah, you've got a table and some chairs there. I mean, again, there's the lights. Okay, so right, okay, so I swear to God, this floor is as it is in the actual game, which is you've got these massive black and white tiles, and then suddenly it just turns into smaller blue and white ones. Now, it's small blue and white ones in Tomb Raider 2 throughout the whole ground floor of the mansion, but then you end up with these blue and white ones just randomly here along this bit, and then along this bit here, and I don't know why they did that, but yeah, they did. So we've got cupboards on this side. That's obviously just picture frames or whatever it is, with some handles in, just to make it look like it's handles on cupboard doors. And then we've got some stoves for the cookers, and then there's this sort of bit here with various things, and then there's a massive table, and I believe that was the fridge in the game. So this will be how Lara gets out. But then she has to go all the way around. Well, she's a fit lady, I'm sure she'll manage. And then there's a big red wall. Oh, can't even remember what I did with this. Could you please get inside? Yes. Yes, it was the smaller tiles and that. And obviously there's meat hanging up. I can't do meat in Minecraft. I suppose I could stick a cow in here, but you know. Oh, and I had to demolish this just to make a thingy, so because I'd have to destroy the door to get back out. Or well, Winston would have to. And we've got some sinks. And the walling, I think it was orange. I think it was orange. And it was blue in 2, I believe. Or was it orange in 2 and then... Well, anyway. It's not too shabby, but the thing is I mean, again, I promise you, time all this out with the blocks, and yet somehow still didn't get this lined up properly. So yeah, this is one of those awkward little moments where it looks a bit shabby, but we won't focus on that too much. So yeah, the dining room area. So like there's the kitchen, and then we come into this dining room area that is massive. But and there's the speakers for the sound system, so that Lara can pump out some jamming tunes while she's entertaining guests. And there's a jukebox. Oh yes, and I did put a switch there, but of course, obviously, nothing will happen. But I think that will be the switch, because there is a switch in the game, and then you play some really creepy London music. Yeah, and the window sills in this game are just absolutely massive. I mean, the house I'm in right now has got nice, big, spacious window sills, but it's nothing on this. Yeah, and everything is sort of dark brown colours in Tomb Raider 3. Because I spent so much time with Tomb Raider 2, I actually completely forgot that dining room was even there. That's of course a clock in the game, but I did try to position sort of pictures sort of relative to where they are in the game. Oh, spoilers! We're looking a bit too far there. Yeah, here's the gymnasium. Oh, well, the dining hall that she's converted into her own personal gym. I did experiment with trying to get 1 and 2 and 3 on all of the thingamajiggers, but obviously it wasn't going to work. There's not enough space here. But I did get the red and white lines down, and yeah, all of that. And then there's more lights underneath that car because that's carpet, obviously. But I was actually pleasantly surprised by how well that actually managed to come across. And that's obviously bamboo thingy. Did come together a lot better than I was expecting this room. I don't think there's something about this. What was that? That wasn't a leakage, was it? Because the bath is right above the ballroom, which caused some issues. But yeah, I think this room ended up looking not too bad actually, just because you've got the wooden frames around the windows, and then you've got the beams on the ceiling. I think it ended up looking really nice. And then through here we've got the swimming pool, and again, of course you'll know the pattern that's on the rooms. It's like there's sort of marble carvings and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, again, can't do it, but I felt like actually when I was playing around with what I could do, this kind of thing of the darker frame and then the lighter line, I think was a pretty decent compromise, and I actually really liked the wee dots in there. But I actually ended up really liking the very simplistic pattern. But I think that sort of worked. Cat statue. And then there's the various plants that she's got in there. The other cat statue. And then there is a design on the thingy as well, but I mean, again, just for the simplicity with something like Minecraft, just kept it to a kind of sort of a square circle. And yes, there is a button. Of course there's a button. And then we can dive in. And interesting, again, she's got these massive torches in here. You know, like, Lara needs to get some electricity wired up in her house, because can't everything be torches? I mean, how much wood is in this building? It would go up like a bonfire. So, I mean, the floors drove me up the wall again. I mean, they are this massive. There's obviously a banisters or like sort of gate kind of thing, but it didn't work because these are half blocks. Blocks and half blocks, as you can see right there. So it like having the kind of fencing as a framing didn't really work the way it does here. And again, I mean, there's a carpet on. Like, I did put a bit of carpeting down because there's some lights there. Oh, I'm forgetting something. But I mean, go back and like fire up a copy of Tomb Raider 3 or 2, and look at the carpet that Lara Croft has down in her mansion. It is absolutely hideous. So let's just go down here because I am forgetting something. Now I demolished this so many times. I mean, this has been a learning experience. I'm never going to build this again in Minecraft because it drove me up the wall enough times that I'm not going to put myself through that again. But this was the thing that I took apart and redid over and over and over again, and thankfully I did give myself enough space. You know, like so many blocks of dirt above the bedrock, the bottom layer, that I could, you know, play around with this for ages, but it's not quite like I think the stairs were what I played around with the most, because I mean again it is that block thing of, you know, like the big 3 blocks wide. But you know something, it's fine. I mean, at some point you have to tell yourself to stop being so anal and just get on with it. Yeah, and then the big space here, and again noticing the details, like the way it's brick, 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 and then it goes up slightly and becomes the beams. But I mean, it was quite satisfying when I could feel it coming together. I mean, you know, I am playing this now for you, just thinking about all the podcasts and all the audiobooks that I was listening to while I did this. Something with Mark Kermode while I was putting this together. And a lot of World War II audiobooks. But yeah, like the sort of the different colours of walls, and then you've got the beams again, and then yeah. So we've got this little bit here where, I mean, there's like a sort of statue thingy there, and then she does actually have a couch thingy which I have forgotten to put in, you know, like when she just wants to sit and contemplate her, do a bit of navel gazing while looking at the fishes. Now I did put some fishes in there, but I noticed the fishes kept dying. And I believe there is actually a gap in between. Yes, there is. Because it was a block in width, so you know, the 3 thingies. There we go. Is that the right colour? That's not the right colour. There we go. Yeah, so, and if Lara decides that she wants to go-karting, oh, did I put the block? Is it this? Is there something? There's a block that you can pull out and climb up into here. And then she can go for a swim with the fishies. And go looking for her key. But it doesn't look like there's actually any fishies here, and this was a lot of naffing around, like just sort of putting all this stuff in. And like sort of trying to put hills. I wasn't like sort of being overly anal about like sort of hills and what was going on. I just sort of, I mean, I think a couple of these things, like stuff in the corner and the back, might be quite accurate. But at some point it was just a case of, this was somewhere where I was just like, yeah, I'm fine just taking creative license with this. But it does make you think, like, who goes to all the bother of putting a key into a, like, where do you go to get a massive fish tank like this? I mean, like, how do you... I mean, there's so much stuff that I think, I mean, stuff like this just wouldn't be in a modern game, because it would just be like, right, okay, like, where did Lara Croft, who did she hire to dig out the basement of her... Then again, my understanding is it is a very middle class thing to have your, like, sort of, your, you know, construct a basement in your, have a basement extension in your house. So, maybe that's the most accurate thing in Tomb Raider. I don't know. Right, upstairs then. Oh, come on, Steve. Alright, so yeah, the wood, the different colours of wood was a compromise on, you know, like not having to... But, well, I mean, again, it was the problem with the half-cut blocks. But yeah, we've got lots of paintings because there is a bunch of paintings on the walls here. Oh, there are cupboards. But there's nothing in them because there wasn't the space. But actually, in the game, I believe yeah, it was just graphics. Yeah, it wasn't something you could interact with, and I don't think there's a step. Oh no, on the other side it's a step down, but I didn't have a step down because again, blocks, graphical issues. So yeah, this is the music room, but there's no instruments because I wasn't sure how to make a piano in Minecraft. I think I googled it and there is a way. But yeah, I guess I didn't get around to it. And I mean, again, it's kind of weird that like you wouldn't think you'd put paintings on the wooden bit. You'd think it would be on the white bit, but there are paintings on the wooden bit in the game, and some that overlap, and then some that are just up there. So lots of bookshelves, and lots of nice views. I've been playing a lot of games where it's the triangle to jump, so that's why I keep bringing that up. Another music system. That's picture frames and records, but you know, from a distance it looks like speakers if you squint. And I mean, again, oh god, I mean, I honestly was like this. Sometimes it's the weirdest little things that cause you issues when you're trying to do something like this in Minecraft. Like this here took ages. I had to demolish it and put it back together so many times. And this is bricks. It's not bricks in the game, but I mean, I think that's the closest I could get to replicating the hideous carpet. And again, some paintings. And some chairs and books, because, you know, she likes to chill. And I mean, again, look at it. It's just the emptiness of it, but that's how it is in the game. Oh, haha, yes, I completely forgot about this. This is quite exciting, actually. Yeah, and then just another random chair with some paintings. Yeah, so, of course, there's the bit where you can go up and behind the chimney, and there's the secret passage. And then, boom, we drop down, boom. Now, why did I make those turquoise? Are those a different colour in the game? Presumably. Yeah, and we can go over here and we flip the switch, and you know, I'm amused with myself that I did notice the different textures there compared to the bricks. So that pleases me. And then that takes us out, into the attic. So, yeah, I mean, again, this little bit of, yeah, so that's us back out at the staircase. So, I mean, again, this staircase here, redid it so many times, and I do believe it is a texture change as well. Yeah, and then there's the attic, and the window looking out on the patio thing at the bedroom, which we'll go to in a moment. And then there is just these, oh yes, because you push blocks out or you pull a block in or something like that, and there is that slight gap there, or like sort of dip, so that you can't pull the block out into this area, something like that, because it's a race to get something. And again, the funny little details you notice, so you notice the beams going down, and throughout the whole of this area beams are going down, 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 down. Except in this one wee corner where they're going across. I don't know if Core Design accidentally put the graphic round the wrong way, but I don't know. Oh, and I know how weird and stupid that looks, but I swear to God, there's something like that in the actual game. Just this weird big chunk of white concreteness. So, oh, and yes, there are suits of armour at the ends of both of these hallways there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I quite like it, even though it's like 6 pixels rammed together. And another, I think I did have an idea at one point to put something in there, like a dragon head or something, just as a funny little addition, but not enough space, because I think that's that's the outside wall. So, not enough space. So, yeah, and there is a painting that's right down at the bottom, like, some of the weird... So, yes, I believe in the game it drops down a step, but I couldn't do that in the game because I would be literally tearing apart the ceiling of the kitchen. So, yeah, popping up, again, the emptiness. I mean, it's really just shocking, the emptiness, like, when you really notice it. But I actually did have fun putting this together. I mean, I guess it's just because of the blockiness made it a lot easier in Minecraft to do something like this. So, you know, just noticing the details again, like that's a full block, whereas it was just this. I think it is actually just a flat texture against that block. Oh, this is something I do need to point out, but I'll point it out when I'll go back outside and point it out. But just be aware that there's two windows there, and then there's this big thing sticking out here. I will point it out. So there we've got our bed. I don't know. Why didn't I put a block there? Never mind. Never mind. And we've got the damn it. I believe we can actually... No, that's blocked as well. Oh, well, yes, there is a reason for that. Again, I'll get to it when I go outside. So we've got this bit up here. Oh, we've got the... We've got our cupboard, and it is this tiny... In Tomb Raider 3, it is this tiny little thing. Where you pick up some flares, I think. Whereas, of course, in 2 it was massive and it was filled with shotgun shells. You've got this bit up there, and there's the patio. Out there, or the... would you call that a patio, or would you call it a... there's a ledge thingy. Out there, and I think there was some bedding of some description out there, like floor bedding. So I stuck some roses, Lara being English, I stuck some roses out there. And then we come up here. Was it a step up or was it a step down? But I needed a little bit of extra height because she does have a massive, like in her in Tomb Raider 2 it was just one block wide, so that wide and along, so it did look kind of bath-like. Whereas in Tomb Raider 2 she's basically just got a pool. And that's carpet for the pattern there, and so some of the blocks are actually lights, just to give a bit more. Well, you can see the difference in light there. And again, we can look out at the obstacle course. I think that would make me nervous. I don't think. Does she have curtains of some description up? Maybe not, since I didn't put any flags up. But that's actually a... Oh. Can you not use it? I thought you could. It was a bell of some description, isn't it? Well, anyway. Yeah. That's the shower. That's a bit... I mean, yes, it is a bell, but, you know, if you squint, you could convince yourself it's a shower head. Anyway. And, yeah. Lara's toilet and bidet, or is it a bidet? However you pronounce that. And then sink, and that's meant to be a mirror. Like, sometimes you just have to use your imagination. But yeah, it was kind of weird to realise the bathroom's right above the ballroom. So, I mean, I learned that when I went into the ballroom and there was water leaking into it. It's like, oh god, I'm gonna have to redo the whole of the bloody hot bathroom and bedroom all over again. So that was fun. Oh yes, and then up here, this big massive window and a big massive ledge actually. I don't know why we need a ledge that big. And yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I did replicate the roof. I think this bit here. There's stuff like that there. Like oh god, it's so bonkers the way you've got the bit coming down there, and you've got this coming down there, and then you've got this bit here where it just kind of goes like I don't, and then it just. So you've got this bit coming up here and then it just suddenly breaks down and then there's this gap here and then there's this graphical glitch Oh, I'm so amused with myself that I did that. Oh, yeah. But I think at some point I did have to start just taking creative license with this, so that it would look, so that it would fit all of the rooms, but it would still retain the kind of look of what you have in the game. Now, remember I told you to pay attention to this, right? So, of course, the fire is not there. The fireplace is not there. That's the fireplace there, but you'll notice a lack of a chimney here. But you'll notice the chimney is actually here. The chimney is there where the fire is not, and where the fire is, there is no chimney, and that is exactly how it is in the game. So I had to put some campfires in there so that we get some smoke coming out. And then there's another, there's more chimneys here. And then there's more chimneys here. But there's no actual, like that's the bathroom. That's the bathroom, and yeah, there's a chimney above there, but there's nothing there because that's the attic. So there's no actual, yeah, so that's really kind of bonkers. That's a bonkers element of the design of the mansion, is that there's chimneys where there shouldn't be, and there's chimneys where there's no fire on the inside. So yeah, I mean it's been a fun, fascinating experience doing this, because there's another one. Or is that the one I pointed out? Did I point that one out? Or right? Okay, I'm lost. I don't know where I am now. But yeah, it's been a fun, fascinating experience doing all of this, because it has made me pay attention to the design of Croft Manor in a way I just haven't before. Sorry, I'm just looking at the graphical glitch again. But it sort of drove me up the wall at times, but then at other times, I think when you could see sections of it like coming together, like the amount of times I just went up high and just had a look, because I could see it all coming together, and it was really satisfying. I am, as I said, on and off doing the legend one. So maybe at some point in the future, if that ever gets finished, but I mean it is kind of driving me up the wall at times. There's a lot of weird inconsistencies. You know, there's because this is all in the game in the classic era. It's all in real time, whereas there's load screens. There's many little load screens. So what that ends up meaning is there's lots of inconsistencies. Like there's when you actually stop and think about it, the corridors should all be crashing into each other, and rooms should be overlapping. So you do have to take a lot more creative license doing that one. But yeah, there's Lara's Mansion Tomb Raider 1. I have looked at the way some people do it in other YouTube videos, and it's not quite like this, but you know, I don't think this is too shabby. I think this sort of works out okay. I think there's a couple of things I'd probably go back and try and do. I mean, I'm never happy with that window, that big huge window, when I look at it. And actually the like sort of the lining, see, this is one of the things that drives me up the wall with Minecraft. You can't place two half blocks on top of each other. You can if they're the same texture, and then it becomes a whole block, but two half blocks with different textures on them, you can't do it, because I'd have liked all this lining here to be a lot thinner, because it is quite thin in the game, so that would have been nice. But overall, I think it was a fun exercise. It was a fun little thing to do while listening to audiobooks. So yeah, there's Lara's Mansion in Minecraft.